Support for your public radio station comes from our members and from the Highlands at Pittsford, an independent and assisted living community affiliated with the University of Rochester, offering cottage and apartment homes, daily life enrichment activities, and care assistance as needed. More at highlandsatpittsford.org.
From WXXI News, this is Connections. I'm Evan Dawson. Our connection this hour is being made at festivals across the country, festivals with LGBTQ themes. It has not been an easy year for organizations that support the LGBTQ community. Some have lost funding, and some big donors are staying on the sidelines. Some events have scaled back or canceled. In Rochester, the second annual Queer Arts Festival is going forward and growing. Next Saturday, October 11th, they've tried to make it happen with smaller donors and the support of local businesses. They've asked supporters not to retreat to the sidelines. And in some ways, it evokes some of the conversations we've had about pride and funders and what people are saying behind the scenes and who's watching and can I support this? So this hour, we're talking about the current landscape of these kinds of events, and we're previewing the upcoming Arts Festival, which is just 2 Saturdays away. Good gracious, that's 9 days away. It is October already. Welcome back to the program, Tim Evanicki, who's organizer of the Rochester Queer Arts Festival. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you so much for having us.
And next to Tim is Ed Popel, Mrs. Kasha Davis. Mrs. Kasha Davis is the co-organizer, host of the festival, performer, of course.
Right.
I mean, how many other things should I mention here?
I'll be selling my old drag as well at the festival, which is fun. But I get to be on stage, and today I wore a little drag for you.
A little bit. So if you're watching on YouTube, Kasha has that is a fabulous hat.
Right? It's one of the first times I've seen anyone in drag was Bugs Bunny.
Yeah.
During the Looney Tunes.
Amazing.
And just hysterical. Would saunter in.
I actually didn't even make that connection. So there's Bugs in drag
Bugs
on your hat.
is in drag, yeah. And of course the hat is in drag because it's covered in glitter.
But yeah, Bugs in drag in the cartoon. It was a common sort of tactic for
yes,
Bugs.
it was a wonderful way for him to get the villains confused.
It's nice to see you back here, Mrs. Davis. Thank you for being here.
Gosh.
And so this is an event that's coming up in just its second year. And, I don't want to overstate it, but Tim, when you reached out, you noted what I've been reading in news stories across the country, which is, depending on where you are, it has not been an easy year for funders, for getting sponsors, for getting people to kind of get off the sidelines. How's that been for you?
Well, I mean, last year when we started this festival, we did it at Artisan Works, and we quickly outgrew that space. I mean, we outgrew that space in our first year. We were bursting at the seams. And so when we did decided to do it again this year, we decided first and foremost we wanted to make this a festival without a cover charge. We wanted to make it free for the whole community, and we knew that in order to do that, we'd have to do it with sponsorships. So we put the festival out there and started getting some really great support, and then realized that those larger companies that we were hoping we were going to get weren't stepping up to the plate for many reasons, as we already mentioned. So we sort of took the approach of, we'll let the festival grow as the dollars come in, because our company, while our company Drag Me to the Stage produces the festival, the entire thing is funded by sponsorships. So as we would get another sponsor, we would let the festival grow a little bit and add something else. And what started out is us, moving to the atrium of the Village Gate. We very quickly after decided we were going to be the entire first floor of the property as well. That filled up. We got more sponsors from local Rochester businesses and decided we were going to put a festival tent in the parking lot. And so now we have a 100-foot by 60-foot festival tent and an outdoor stage, and we're in the courtyard. But that sort of grew piece by piece as we were able to get more local sponsors on board.
Just a quick observation. You are really benefiting from this extended summer. That is just incredible. It's going to be, the next couple of weeks are supposed to still be great. It's really going to be lovely the next couple of weekends.
Knock on wood. Don't jinx us.
Saturday, October 11th from 10 to 6 at Village Gate for the festival.
Village Gate.
All of Village Gate.
Yeah, which is amazing. And I just have to mention that this has been a passion project for Tim. And when we did the initial tour, I was being like, well, let's be conservative. Let's just do and this one is like, I want to this, and we're going to get tents, and we're going to have and expand. And he's done such a marvelous job looking out the people that we've had relationships with before, obviously Roar Nightclub and different organizations within the Rochester community that would immediately step up. But then people that we've had relationships with, like the parent company of RuPaul's Drag Race, stepped up as a sponsor for us in this community because of the relationship that I've had with them and over the years. So we're so grateful for that. But really, this is Tim's passion project to do something like this for the community. And I think right now we can all agree that we need to gather as a community, but also we need our allies to feel as though this is an opportunity to gather together and to support one another.
I don't want to dwell on uncomfortable themes, but I do think it's important to ask both of you. We've talked on this show in the past about the fact that it is, if you perform in drag in this country, you've probably had at least a threat somewhere, right? I mean, like,
Of course.
I mean that's not new in your career, right?
Right.
And sometimes they're very nebulous, and sometimes you go, whoa, like, do I want to show up? This is not a comfortable time right now in this country. I don't think anybody in this room wants to see one more act of violence against anyone. Fair?
Correct.
Right? And I think one of the things that I have found really remarkable in our conversations over the years, whether it's about Story Hour, whether it's about community outreach, is that I know you have talked to people who were uncomfortable with the work that you do and didn't agree with it, but you gave them a hearing and you gave them a chance to listen, and you didn't convince everybody, but I know you've convinced plenty of people who maybe would have not walked out of there thinking that their minds were going to change, and they changed, right?
Right.
So what's the moment feel like right now for you?
Well, the moment is heightened, obviously. The days after the horrific shooting of Charlie, I was in pause, and I was about to do a Pride Festival, and I thought to myself, is this the next, the opportunity for me to stand on stage and for someone who doesn't agree with what I'm doing to take their shot?
It goes through your mind.
It goes through your mind. And it is very much a decision to say, we must go forward and do these things. And we must go forward and show up and speak up. But what you said with where you started this question is that it's about conversation. We cannot allow whatever happens politically, whatever happens on social media, whatever is out there, we cannot allow those opinions and or observations and or stances to create so much hate. We have to be able to talk. And that's why a show like this is so important to have these conversations, because someone's listening who does not agree. There are choices to A, not show up. If you don't agree, don't attend, don't like, scroll, watch. But furthermore, have a conversation with someone. Have a disagreement that is a reasonable disagreement.
I think you're amazing at this. I really do. I mean, talking to you and Tim in the past and feeling this moment that I agree with you feels heightened, feels extremely tense right now. I want people to understand that they actually can have those conversations again.
Yes.
That we don't have to resort to just seeing each other on screens and just trying to dunk on each other and sharing videos that this person destroys this person. And
right.
This, as opposed to like, hey, I don't know how I feel about this, but can you help me at least understand your point of view? I think that's so much better, but we're doing less of that.
And isn't that why we're here on this earth, to learn and to try to understand? I believe. I mean, it's limiting. I remember growing up in Scranton, Pennsylvania, and having ideas that, this, that, and the other was weird, and that was it. Well, I had no exposure. I had no experience. I had no relationships. And then when I began to have those, as simple as coming out as gay after being in the closet, and then realizing I have a right to be who I am, and people who are unsure and live in that hate, let's have a conversation about it. Let's talk about it. And I was able to, in my lifetime, have that conversation with my father, who was the most adamant against it. And we were able to have a conversation, process both sides of the street, forgive, and say I love you before he passed. And this is ultimately what conversation does. This is ultimately what Tim is so passionate about, bringing all of us together. Again, it's not just about the queer community. It's about all of us showing up for one another and experiencing art and entertainment and for children of all ages.
Did you have any hesitation given all the sort of the supercharged nature of things these days?
I mean, maybe it's because as this festival has been growing and I've been talking to the sponsors and getting people on board, I haven't really had much hesitation as far as thinking that, oh gosh, something terrible is going to happen. We've been in close contact with the RPD, the mayor's office as well. The mayor is going to be at the festival along with Assemblymember Bronson and Senator Brooke, and even the governor's office is sending someone, and they're all doing proclamations. So we knew that security had to be something that we addressed, and we are working with them and a private security company as well to make sure it's there. But one thing I've noticed is I'm chatting with sponsors and getting people involved and signing up all of the vendors and performers. People are very passionate right now, and not just the LGBT community about it. Our allies are very passionate. The people who really do support us that aren't a member of, the LGBT spectrum, they are very enthusiastically helping throw money behind what we're doing.
You want to mention an example or two?
Yeah, I mean, there's quite a few of the businesses that are at Village Gate that have stepped up. Cat Tal, Creative Arts Therapy, the Nitty Gritty Waxing Studio there. City Newspaper did step in and support us, which was fantastic. There's several attorneys. The Harley School, the private school, is supporting us.
And then, Tim, the big companies who are maybe staying on the sidelines, you don't have to mention their names, but what do their names rhyme with?
Sometimes we would get a very polite response back. And whether or not we decided to read between the lines or not, it was usually just something like, we don't have this in our budget this year or whatever. And, I wasn't reaching out to any of the companies for sponsorships, just pulling names out of the air. I was looking back at companies who had sponsored previous Pride festivals in the last few years, hoping to get some support from them, and they just don't have it.
But you've grown nonetheless here. I mean,
we have grown so much.
This is year 2, and you're triple the size from year 1?
At least triple the size, yeah.
So there are 4 of us within this company. I get to be the one on stage, obviously, and I feel like I'm relationship building. Tim does the sales and is really managing the company, and then my husband is spreadsheet man. So what can we spend? Where is our budget? And then Ricky does our merchandising and has the eye on the look of things. I have to tell you, I'm just so proud to be a partner with Tim, because at a time when it's so difficult to be able to continue to push forward. When there's a no, he stays up late and finds the yes. And that's what we need right now. And one of the things I feel a burning desire to share is that I've had the opportunity for many years to show up at Pride festivals all around. And I was at Pride festivals in DC and New York City this year with HRC. And when I tell you, as I look across the parade route or this festival stage, whether I'm speaking or performing, I am seeing more diversity in the LGBTQ plus community, as well as the allies showing up. And why do I say that? They wear shirts and they're pointing to me. I'm an ally. I'm a mom. I'm a dad. I am here. We're here for one another. And I think that is driven politically, but it is something that people are wanting to show. They're not all on Instagram or other social media platforms hating. They're showing up physically to show that, yes, we are all deserving of a space in this world.
Yeah. I want to listen to a sound clip that I think illustrates the strangeness of this moment. I say strangeness because we know that festivals have had some struggles, and that there is a sense in corporate America that if you gave to certain causes in the past, rethink it. The current administration has made it clear what they prefer, and they've made it clear that they feel like they have federal power to penalize, universities, companies, corporate America, if they do things they disagree with. So you have this on one side. And then on the other side, there's a clip that I could not believe what I was seeing. So we're going to listen to this clip. The online YouTube journalist, that's a real thing now, Andrew Gallagher, sat down with Pete Buttigieg. And he asked Pete Buttigieg about something that I had missed in the last couple of weeks, which is that Tucker Carlson's on this crusade to prove that Pete Buttigieg is not actually gay, that his identity is just a PR stunt that helps him in this country.
Oh.
And so you're going to listen. You're going to hear Gallagher talk to Buttigieg about it. You're going to hear some of the Carlson clips that contextualize it. And then I want you to listen to Buttigieg's response. Let's listen.
You see the news recently, the Tucker Carlson statement.
He's never agreed to interview, but I'm going to ask him like some very specific questions about gay sex and see if he can even answer.
He said that you are basically fake gay and that you've created this persona to appease the woke mob.
Tucker Carlson claims Pete Buttigieg isn't really gay.
He was dating women just a few years ago. That's totally fake. Wow. He's not gay at all.
Smart.
So I said that on the air. People got all offended.
Yeah. I mean, in a weird way, I guess it's progress. Like, I spent a good chunk of my life believing, knowing that, like, being gay would be a career ender for me. I had two parts of my career when I was in my 20s. Public service, and being interested in public office, and being in the military. Both of which could have ended because I was gay. And honestly, I don't like thinking about it now, but there was a time when I would have done anything to not be gay. Like, it was just like, tell me what I have to do, and I would have done it.
Like you would have gone to conversion therapy?
I mean, if I thought it would have worked, the state of mind that I was in at a certain time in my life when I was younger, maybe, yeah. Because I thought that the reality would just shut down my options. And then I grew older, I matured, I went to war. During that deployment, I thought, like, this is insane to, like, be a grown-ass man with no idea what it's like to be in love. Like, if I get through this deployment okay, I'm going to come home, I'm going to come out, and if it messes up my career, so be it. But that's how I live my life. And so to now be at a point where a right-wing, whatever you want to call him, personality, his big conspiracy theory is that I'm secretly straight is, like, kind of hilarious, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess it's progress. Of all the things you could say about me being gay, probably the most, like, novel and weird is to say that I'm actually not.
That's Pete Buttigieg talking about this bizarre and obviously incorrect idea that Tucker Carlson is peddling. First of all, Kasha, what do you hear there in Buttigieg's story?
Oh my God!
Can you relate to some of how Pete felt?
I was beginning to well up in tears because I spent many years trying to appease what other people wanted. My father marrying the first girl who would say yes. I did love her, but I did not believe I could exist on this earth being who I was. Was I suicidal? Potentially, in the way that I drank. I wanted to quiet those noises, stand straight, speak lower, and it's heartbreaking to hear, but then I'm so inspired by where we are because more people are willing to show that spectrum of gender, of that spectrum of their sexuality, of who they are, that we all have a place to exist and to show our light in this world. And that horrible closeted feeling of believing that I should not exist and love who I love is something that is why I stand on that stage, because I don't want anyone to feel that way. I don't want anyone else to have to feel that way. And if that means that I go on the stage in my all genderness, then that is what I'll do, and I'll take that chance because it is the bravest thing to do to be yourself. And where I thought everyone would hate me, many of those myths were in my head. I was accepted more than I was turned away. But it's a difficult thing to hear, and I'm so inspired by him.
What did you hear there, Tim?
Have we actually gone so far that the right is now trying to in us? Like, to publicly shame someone by saying, you're not gay enough. Like, is that really is that their MO now? Like, how can you create a world in which it is so difficult for a gay person and then not believe them when they're brave enough to say, I'm gay or I'm not straight? Like, it just seems like there's no winning. If you're different, there's no winning. Even when you think that, they're saying, the right, the conservatives saying, well, Republicans aren't out to get gay people. They just want everyone to be equal. So that's why there shouldn't be pride festivals. So that's why there shouldn't be this, because everyone should be equal. But then they're quick to label just so that it's then they're fitting their narrative again, that this person is distrustful.
Let me also say, I don't think Tucker Carlson speaks for all of the right. Happily so.
Right.
Tucker Carlson is in his own sort of strange universe, especially lately. And I think there are plenty of conservatives and Republicans who have either always been, as you say, more accepting than you feared, or have moved on this on a lot of these issues. That's not to say there's uniformity. There's not. And that's not to say there isn't pressure politically, especially at the top right now. There certainly is. But culturally, the clip is interesting because while I don't think Carlson represents any majority of people, it's not nobody. And the idea that some people would think that, well, there's more cultural points for being in the LGBTQ community than not is an interesting construction. And it's obviously hard to measure. And with Buttigieg, it's totally absurdly wrong. I mean, and I imagine offensive to Chasten and their family and their children. They've got 2 children. But on top of that, I find myself thinking, like, Tucker Carlson has been part of the ostensible Christian right forever. And part of their refrain's been like, stop talking about sexual issues, like get out of the bedroom and focus. And now he wants to know about Pete Buttigieg's sex life. He says it in this clip.
He's going to ask.
He's going to ask him.
I want to know what those questions were. I'd like to know if I could answer them.
I think we have to draw that line here. I don't think we can demo the questions. But like, how bizarre is this? Like, I'm gonna make him prove it.
Well, because I think there's a degree of when someone says, "Are you gay?" That must mean that you are like a stereotype that is perceived as a negative. And that's the unfortunate thing, is that, first of all, that is not a negative. If someone is flamboyant or whatever the case may be, feminine, which then when that brings up the fact that, are you, what's your hang up against women now? If someone, can a man not hug another man? That's what I grew up with. My grandfather and my father were like, you're at an age now where you can no longer hug and kiss us hello and goodbye because that's gay. And I was like, what? I don't understand.
What's the magical age where that happens? Is it like 10? Saying? Is it 14?
This hyper masculinity. So these things, I love that there's more positive conversation and examples of you. That doesn't make you one thing or another. But I don't know that. It infuriates me because you'll have somebody who is afraid to be affectionate because they might be thought of as a negative, and as if gay is a negative. And he, for some reason, fits this stereotype. Well, he must not be gay. Well, does he have to do drag to be gay? Does he have to wear pink? What do you mean?
Yeah. Well, he carried a gun in war, so he can't be gay.
He can't possibly be gay.
All these stereotypes. And I think Tim makes an important point here. It almost appears to me that Carlson is uncomfortable with how comfortable Buttigieg is in his own skin, and now wants to penalize him by attacking the validity of Buttigieg's identity, on whatever grounds he can. Mm-hmm. So I don't think it's going to work. But I found it bizarre. But I thought Buttigieg's answer was really, really moving to me.
Oh my gosh! Absolutely,
really moving to me. So after we take our early break, let's get back to the festival, and we're going to talk about what is going to be on stage. I mean, Kasha Davis is going to be on stage, I assume.
Absolutely,
quite a bit. But that's not. It's not just the Mrs. Kasha Davis show.
No, it is not.
The Rochester Queer Arts Festival is 9 days away, October 11th, 2 Saturdays from now, 10 to 6. At the Village Gate, and it is free, right?
Correct.
Is that correct? It's free.
Yes.
They would love to see you there. So let's come back, talk about what they've got planned coming up.
Support for your public radio station comes from our members and from the Rochester Philharmonic Orchestra, presenting Fire and Fantasy. Violinist Blake Puglio performs Saint-Saëns Concerto No. 3, and guest conductor Paolo Bortolomeoli leads Prokofiev's Third Symphony, October 9th and 11th at Kodak Hall. rpo.org.
This is Connections. Jack wants to know, where do you get a hat like that?
Oh, this is the best. This is, I think it's called Overlord Caps. And they should be sending me free hats because I am constantly posting about them. They have every cartoon you can think of, the Smurfs, the Looney Tunes, Hanna-Barbera, all the different classics. And they're great quality. So they're fun.
So Overlord Caps is the answer, Jack. And if you're just listening and not watching on YouTube, you got to jump on the WXXI News YouTube feed to see why he's asking about the hat.
That's right.
It is fabulous.
It's fun.
It is definitely fabulous. Also, I want to say I like the, in my view, it's the old school curvature. You know, kids these days, it's that big, wide, flat brim. I can't do it.
I have to do it. I grab the hat and
I know. I'm with you. And I do that. And my son's always like, ugh.
Right.
Like he forgot his hat and he had to put a hat on because he got long hair. And he's like, I have to wear it backwards. I cannot show the brim like this.
Oh, my gosh.
You know, kids.
Or they just balance it up on the top of their head. Put your hat on.
With the price tag still on underneath.
Right.
And I don't understand
or the
that.
tag, yeah. Like, listen, I'm of a certain age where I don't always get it, but I try to understand it. We're talking to Tim Evanicki and Mrs. Kasha Davis, the co-organizers of the Rochester Queer Arts Festival. They, of course, are the team behind Drag Me to the Stage, and Drag Me to the Stage is helping present the Queer Arts Festival, which is next Saturday. So not 2 days from now, 9 days from now, the 11th. It's 10 to 6 at Village Gate there. It's the second annual, and it is growing. So do you want to take us through kind of the day? Guys, do you want to just kind of take us through what people can expect?
Yeah, of course. So the entire festival is going to kick off on the atrium stage. So there's three stages at the festival. One is in the atrium, one is in the festival tent, and the other is in the courtyard. We kick off with a ribbon cutting and opening ceremony with the politicians I mentioned earlier. Mayor Evans is going to be there, Senator Brooke, and Assemblymember Bronson, as well as a representative from the governor's office. They're all coming and making proclamations, making October 11th Rochester Queer Arts Festival Day, which is pretty cool. And then all three stages are filled all day long with bands. We have the RPO is sending their jazz ensemble to perform. The Rochester Gay Men's Chorus, the Rochester Women's Community Chorus are performing. We have circus performers. The very first act on the atrium stage is a pole aerialists, jugglers. I said live bands. We have a fashion show. The No Labels Fashion Without Gender fashion show is at 4 o'clock on the atrium stage, on the festival stage as well. That's presented by Lucy and Donna, and we have some really great designers. I think they said something like 45 looks are being presented on 33 models by 4 designers. So that's going to be an incredible fashion show, as well as 3 drag sets featuring drag performers, not only from Rochester, but Buffalo, Syracuse, all around the area. And
special guest Thor will be selling.
I was going to say, we have our drag tag sale. So people can actually come and dig through the closets of some local and RuPaul's Drag Race drag queens and buy their stuff.
Right.
Yeah, I put on the thing, this is your chance to own something a celebrity once sweat in.
Well, now, are we allowed to mention who we're honoring?
Yes, of course.
So we have an award, and it's an Ally Award, and I know you know who it's. We're honoring Diane Chevron. Yeah. And I think that's it's an important honor, and she's been through some tough times right now, but also just the fact that what she's done over the years with raising funds and hosting events, working with Trillium and AIDS Rochester and over the years. And so we're very excited to be kicking that off and having the Allyship Award at the beginning. Yep. And it's in honor of Tim Maines.
Yeah, Tim Maines, the Tim O. Maines Award. Yeah. And because of those incredible sponsors, too, we've been able to make sure that all of our performers are paid this year. And that was something that was really important to us, too, as we were continuing to grow. So our title sponsor came on board, this ties back into the conversation we were having before. Our largest sponsor at the festival is probably from the smallest, newest business. Rainbow Camo is our title sponsor, and he dug deep and came in at that $5,000 sponsorship, which was incredible for us. But I think, again, like we were saying earlier, that just goes to show that this is the time where people are really digging deep and standing up and showing up for this community to make things happen.
So, by the way, on the subject of allyship, for people who don't know more about Diane's story, you want to just say a little bit more about the importance of allyship in this community? And the late Tim Maines, of course, was on this program many times, and I think people probably know Tim through what was his activism, also his political work. I mean, did a lot in this community. That's a big name to be attached to an award like that.
Yes. Well, we began to look to see who we would want to honor, and it was very quickly that we came to the Tim Maines Award, and because of all of the work that he's done throughout the years. But then I began to think about we began to have discussions regarding allyship, and I felt it was so important for us to bring that up, because I think sometimes, whether it's at one of our performances or a festival like this, there are some people who are like, I don't know whether I belong if I'm not a part of the LGBTQ plus community. But yes, you can experience and show up and show that love. And that's what Diane has done over the years, would step in as somebody's sister, as somebody's mother, as someone's friend, and not be there to necessarily, be in there as pity, but to be there as a partner, and to say that we can get through this together. I mean, so often people in the LGBTQ plus community lose their families, and the community becomes family. And that is exactly what Diane has done throughout the years, and using her talents on stage and her humor and her fabulousness to host and generate funds at a time when the beginning stages of AIDS Rochester really needed that help in the heat of things. And then she continued throughout the years. And I think that she deserves that highlight and that moment. And of course, I mean, if you know Diane, we're talking hair and makeup. So we've got that all set up for her, and she's going to have a fabulous day.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Let me pull back here to this email from Judy. Wanted to know if the Village Gate restaurants are going to stay open during the day.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's so many great places. So that's
Right.
what's going to make the festival. There's a lot of great places you can go eat, you can hang out.
Absolutely. We have so many different types of artisans there. I'm proud to say our daughter she creates earrings, and so you have everything from earrings to artwork to knitting, and all the different types of artisans will be there. And then you can experience, as was mentioned, the entertainment happening in front of your eyes, as well as the stores that are currently there. So you really get this full-on experience, an immersive experience.
A couple of emails here. Charlie says, Evan, I believe the far right is getting frustrated that the LGBTQ plus community is not disappearing, despite their efforts to make it happen. People turn to others like Tucker Carlson for confirmation bias. They find what they want to hear. I'm loving the show as usual, and good luck with the festival, everyone. That's from Charlie. And Brian in Fairport says, as an ally, a teacher, and a parent, I've always advocated rational conversation and peaceful resolution of differences. But at this point, I find myself at a loss for where to even begin a conversation with someone who holds such views, assuming I can even find a person genuinely open to that conversation. The idea that we can simply sit down and talk it out feels increasingly antiquated in the face of what's happening. People's fundamental rights are being rolled back, books are being pulled from library shelves, and individuals are being targeted and attacked. These aren't minor disagreements over policy or small cultural shifts. They represent a direct assault on freedoms and human dignity, which makes it feel almost hopeless to believe there's room for reasoned dialogue, especially when there often seems to be little interest from the other side in having that dialogue at all. I applaud your guests for their positive outlook as well as activism in the face of all the animosity. I will be at the festival to show my support. Kudos to you all. It's Brian in Fairport.
Oh, thank you, Brian.
I understand. I'm going to let our guests kind of weigh in on where Brian is on this. And I'll just say this, probably relates to the conversation, part of the conversation we had yesterday, Brian. I understand why people feel like they're at a limit, like they can't make any progress with people they disagree with. But here's what I would posit. I'm not talking about you specifically, Brian. I'm talking about people in general. I think too many people think that, well, I tried And the way they tried was making a comment on somebody else's social media thread. So if you tried to dunk on somebody on a Facebook thread, I don't think that's actually trying to break through. I understand you're trying to make a point and you might feel heated in the moment, but there aren't a whole lot of examples throughout history of people going, I really felt obstinate until that person in my life made that really direct and somewhat nasty comment on Facebook. And then it just flipped me. I mean, I don't think so. So I'm not saying that's you, Brian. And I'm saying I understand the frustration, feeling like I can't make any progress. People won't even hear it. But I would just say, I think we are just spending too much time in the wrong spaces for conversation. We're not in person together as much. We're not coming to shows and at least giving it a shot. We're not talking after. We're not reaching out one-on-one via email or even in person. It doesn't foster the kind of dialogue that you want to see, Brian, and that I want to see. And I think we still can if we try, if we're willing to try. Do you feel that way?
I totally agree. And I think this technology is amazing. It allows us to make connections. And of course, the negative responses will get attention. And oftentimes, myself, I'm guilty of it.
Me too.
If there's a negative comment, there's 15 positive ones, but there's that one negative one. But what can we do? What do I teach the kids when we do Drag Story Hour? If you happen to see someone different in the world, treat them with kindness. And I should say, not or, when you're walking through Wegmans, smile at someone.
Boy, do I like that idea.
Right? And I say Wegmans because that's where the main store in this area. But ultimately, wherever you are out in the world, make the effort to be kind, because those things will spread as fast, or in some ways faster, because it's almost we have our heads in our phones, and we are gravitating towards this negativity, and then we ignore, as you mentioned, the real-time FaceTime. And so making that effort will make a difference. And I believe that I feel that desire sometimes to throw up my arms and scream and be like, that's it. I talk to my brother sometimes who has worked for the government, and it's a frustrating time in his life. He's like, you know what, Eddie, remember we used to want to open a local grocery store? Maybe it's time to just open the little grocery store, And I'm like, it's not that time yet. But I understand that frustration. But we need to utilize this technology, but also these real-time events. We had an event that was canceled, a fundraising event for the
Child Advocacy Center.
Child Advocacy Center that was a response to negativity online. We followed through with the cancellation, but then the CEO came to an event where we donated all the tips for my performance to them, and we have since spoken, and we are going to collaborate, and we're going to do work together, because we didn't just only get angry and flip out. We communicated the frustration, but then we spoke, and we're going to make other positive things happen because of it. That's ultimately what I'm advocating for. And I think it is more frustrating now because of the amount of negative things that we're seeing online. But just remember the word algorithm. Because if you're watching it, it's the assumption is you want more of it. Mm-hmm. And I have to remind myself of that too. Because you know, you're not supposed to look. But if you're on a plane and you look at what somebody else is looking at, their feed is not exactly mine. So, it's important to know that you're seeking it out.
And then they amplify it. Yeah.
It doesn't mean it's not there, but it's sought out.
When we were at the Clothesline Festival, I went up to one of the artists and I was telling them about our Queer Arts Festival in just a few weeks, and told him we had a couple of booths available still if they were interested. And he said something like, "Oh, you don't want an old straight guy like me at the Queer Arts Festival." And I was thinking, like, it's not like we have to silo these events based on whether you're LGBT or not. And I was like, "Sir, look around." I'm like, could you imagine this festival without gay people? Like, why does it have to be one goes to one and one goes to the other? It's like you said earlier, Kasha, that when you grew up in Scranton, Pennsylvania, when I grew up in Honeoye, you're in your own little bubble, and it's not until you start venturing to the big city that you expose your mind to some other ways of thinking and other ways of life. If you're interested or you don't know anything, or you're uncomfortable with the LGBT community just because of not having any exposure to them or being around them, come to this festival. No one's going to brand you with a scarlet letter when you walk in the door to say straight guy. Come in and walk around, and I bet you have a good time, and I bet you enjoy what's on the stage, and I bet you see that it's just a group of people all there to celebrate equality and having fun and celebrate the artists, and it's not going to be terribly political. It's not going to be, we're not going to call anyone out for having a different viewpoint than others. It's just a place to come and celebrate art and celebrate the arts community and the LGBT community in Rochester.
Tim, I think we've talked a little about your more rural upbringing in the past. Rural, right?
Very, yes.
Working class town for you, Ed? Your
Well,
upbringing?
it's Scranton, Pennsylvania, so it's sort of like a coal mining town.
Okay,
you know.
but you were in Scranton proper.
Well, I was in a suburb
A
of Scranton.
suburb of Scranton.
If
Was it a
there's- if
bougie
there's such a
suburb?
thing? No.
Okay, are there bougie suburbs of Scranton?
Taylor, Pennsylvania is really what it is. A small town, good people, but very, very, it was behind the times.
Okay, I ask because you've both now been very direct about what it was like growing up within your own sort of skin, your own identities, kind of coming of age, and being in places that aren't traditionally, stereotypically known for being very welcoming. So I'm curious now, do you go back to your class reunions? Do you have class reunions? I don't even know. I've stopped going to my high school reunions.
Yeah.
I was the class president. I'm supposed to be organizing them. I outsourced that. That was a mistake. Should never have done that.
Right.
I said I should never have been the class president. So I don't go. And it's not because I don't care. I just think I don't know what I'm doing here. It feels competitive or weird. And maybe I've got the wrong mindset. Do you guys go?
I've gone. So I was my class president from 9th grade to 11th, and I lost in my senior year, which I was like, yes, because I don't have to do the
Exactly.
reunion.
You got the benefit of everything except for not doing the
Yeah.
reunion.
And one of my great friends, she's the president, and so she's had to organize these reunions. And I've been back to a few, but I was just there recently with my family for our uncle's 70th birthday party, and there's still the feeling of it's a bit behind the times. I mean, there's a lot of people that have stayed, and there seems to be more older people there that just never really ventured out, and so it's nostalgic in a way. But going back, I feel something different inside that says it's time to leave.
Okay, I get you. I wonder if you'd wear that hat. I assume you haven't gone full Kasha.
No, I did. I have. I've performed there, and what's great is that in Scranton, they put me on the front page, and they're like, "The star is back." And I'm like, "Oh my gosh, you guys!"
Well, I mean, you're a
very
national
sweet.
star now. Sorry.
Well, yeah, they're very kind, and I'm so big in Scranton that I once headlined at a Toyota dealership. So we'll just leave it at that.
So just a couple of months ago, I got an email from a classmate that said, hey, are we going to do anything for our 25th class reunion? And it wasn't until the two of you just spoke about this that I realized that I was supposed to be the one to organize that.
Oh, great.
As the class president.
Yes.
All right.
I hate to tell you this.
All right,
but yes.
Honeoye class of 2000. The 26th class year reunion is going to be huge, promise.
Do it. Do it.
Would you ever have any hesitation going back to a class reunion, Tim?
No, I don't think I would. I think I was still in high school when I sort of grew a backbone and started I don't want to say fighting back, but not just sitting there and taking it and being pushed around as a bully. And as soon as I stopped doing that, things kind of got better for me in that school. Because even then in that small town, I think I had more friends than enemies. So I think I had the support system enough to tell the idiots to sit down and let me be. And then, I mean, I left Honeoye right out of high school. I moved to New York City. So, and I think in the time since high school, even the ones that were sort of more small-minded, closed-minded, have gone out and seen the world, have left Honeoye, and they may have come back. But as soon as you leave and you can experience other cultures and other people, I think that small town mindset of only worrying about what's in your backyard and not seeing a bigger picture. I think that goes away once you have the opportunity to explore.
Did you say you graduated in 2000?
I did.
I know.
Class of
89.
2000.
I was
He's the
class
worst.
of 89.
97 for me.
I'm old.
No, Tim is young.
Yeah, there you go.
I'll take that.
Yeah.
Sure.
Tim's
Well,
young.
I
2000.
agree.
But that's the thing is, like, as you get older, you're like 2000. That seems like 2 years ago. It was not 2 years ago.
There are times where I think, oh, that felt like it was just a few years back, and you go, 26 years? I'm like, what?
Right.
Wow. My goodness gracious. So one more email, and I admit this one, I don't fully, help me get this one here, guys. This is from Tom in Canandaigua. He says, the national motto is E pluribus unum. There should not be allies. There needs to only be us. Otherwise, we are lying hypocrites. Jesus loved everybody, but he could not stand hypocrites. You are like whited sepulchres, he said. So I think what Tom is saying is even the word allies, while it's nice, we should inherently be allies of everybody. It shouldn't be an effort to be intentional and think outside of your identity or culture, because if you're following the teachings that Tom is, I think he's saying, e pluribus unum, it's all of us. Doesn't matter who you are, doesn't matter your background, doesn't matter your identity. We got your back. I think that's where Tom is.
That sounds. Go ahead.
I would agree to a point, but as we were talking earlier about how do we change the tide? How do we get these people who are so vocal against us to understand? I think we need that ally, for lack of a better word, that's sort of a bridge. Like, hey, I'm not LGBT. I'm more like you are. But here's why I don't think that this is so terrible, and can sort of introduce them. It's like the stepping, I don't know, like a stepping stone, I guess. I'm not really sure what I'm trying to say there, but you need that connection, someone who's not LGBT to stand up for you, just like all the other civil rights fights. You know, it took someone who has the perceived power to start that change.
I think it's a good observation
Yeah.
about who holds power and why allies do matter. But I appreciate the sentiment from Tom, if I'm reading that correctly. If I'm not reading it correctly, Tom, then I have no idea. And send it back, follow my half of it. And I will read, by the way, we've touched a nerve here, guys, with class reunion. Maybe we need a whole other show on class reunions.
Right.
Charlie says, me and 2 other girls ran a class of 660, and all we did was take heat for the class reunions for years. All 3 of us boycotted the 50th reunion. Good for you, Evan.
There you go.
Yeah, Charlie. I don't know. I want to. I'll go back eventually, but I mean, it's. I don't.
It was.
I don't know.
Speaking to my friend Marissa, she was like, "This is one of the hardest to try to please everyone and get the right." I said, make it casual. Just make it very casual and just a meeting place, a restaurant, the type of thing, and that. Whether you want to show up or not, that's up to you.
You're not going to please everybody.
No, that's right.
Some people want it very formal. Some people want it super casual, whatever. That's a whole other conversation. And Jenna emailed to ask, does this festival compete with Pride?
No.
Compete? No.
No, it's a different vibe. It's sort of well, it's not necessarily a different vibe, but it's an addition to Pride, I guess.
Yeah, I think the art and the artists are front and center at this festival. We're indoors. I think a different vibe is the right thing to say. The Outdoor Pride Festival is certainly its own beast, and it's got the parade attached to it and things. This is focusing on the artist and celebrating the creativity and community. I think is what we said at the beginning, that we wanted to make sure that's celebrated.
All right, so let's close with this. 2 minutes left here. Our listeners who maybe have Saturday, October 11th open, 10 to 6. It's at Village Gate. You don't have to go for the whole thing, but plenty of people absolutely will. The question is, I've never been to a festival like this before. What am I going to experience?
Shopping, juggling, entertainers. There's great cupcakes within the Get Caked? So you can get some food, you can get some entertainment. Obviously, you've got the indoor-outdoor experience.
Yeah. And if you go to queerartsfest.com, you can see our entire lineup of workshops. So if you want to try your hand at, I think we have origami workshops, we have chainmail workshops. We have an entire workshop room sponsored by Trillium. You can come and take either a 50-minute hands-on workshop or a 20-minute demonstration. There's a really cool floral bar as part of the workshop, so you can build bouquets. What am I forgetting?
You're not forgetting, but Image Out. There's some screenings.
Oh my gosh.
So they're screening.
We're partnering with Image Out. So Image Out has a screening room all day long. They'll be showing a shorts presentation. They'll screening Workhorse Queen, starring Mrs. Kasha Davis, with a talk back there. And we also have a student art gallery. Students from the Harley School and a couple of the local colleges will be showing their work as well. Story hour, of course. We have Mrs. Kasha Davis doing story hour. So there's face painters, temporary tattoo artists, bring the kids. You will be entertained all day long from
All
10
ages.
a.m. All ages.
Right.
All ages.
Okay. We missed anything here?
I don't think so. I think that's drag tag sale.
Yeah.
Buy my old wigs.
I'm sure. I'm sure we missed something, but again, if you go to queerartsfest.com, we have the entertainment lineup, the workshop lineup, a vendor directory, all the food trucks that are going to be there, in addition to the on-site restaurants. Yeah.
QueerArtsFest.com.
Yes, sir.
Yes, it's
Have
on the www, which is the World Wide Web.
Thank you. Does it have an HTTP colon /
That's too many things. I can't remember.
Have so much fun. It's 2 Saturdays from now. It's the second annual Rochester Queer Arts Festival, 10 to 6 at the Village Gate. Tim Evan-Nicky, Ed Popel, Mrs. Kasha Davis. Thank you for sharing the story of it. We'll see you there in a couple of Saturdays. Thank you.
Thank
you.
you so much.
More connections coming up in a moment.
This program is a production of WXXI Public Radio. The views expressed do not necessarily represent those of this station, its staff, management, or underwriters. The broadcast is meant for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast or use in another medium without expressed written consent of WXXI is strictly prohibited. Connections with Evan Dawson is available as a podcast. Just click on the Connections link at WXXInews.org.